Hey everybody, how's it going? Daniel Kaplan here. So really quick, I'm gonna be doing just a quick video kind of breaking down all the kinds of asset classes that we have launched campaigns for, and just going to be laying out which campaigns that we deem as the highest converting ones. And for context, I'm one of the founders over at No Accent Callers. We have built hundreds of real estate campaigns. We mainly specialize in both the residential side, but also work with a bunch of private equity shops and family offices who are focusing on the CRE side of things. So in this video, I'm going to quickly just break down kind of the top 5 asset classes that we have converted best with, and just kind of breaking down the philosophy as to why these ones are converting so much better than all the other ones. So in my opinion, probably the worst asset to always be in is self-storage. Though I do love the asset itself, this is more so ranking on where are we going to be getting the best results from an off-market direct-to-seller standpoint. And self-storage there's a very finite amount of resources within self-storage. There are not that many assets. They're mainly in more rural, tertiary markets. And it's very, very competitive is one of the bigger challenges that we see. This is probably always the worst converting campaigns just because it is very, very saturated. The data is very easy to get as well. And because the data is so easy, lower barrier of entry, very hot asset class, there is a lot of competition. The only way, in my opinion, where you can find real success within the self-storage space is more like niche self-storage, like cold storage. Sometimes you can call it like contractor garages. I don't know if you can call it self-storage. But yeah, really challenging asset class. I usually will tell people it probably doesn't make sense to try and prospect to it. The next one is office. And though I do think that office converts best, I just think it's an asset that people kind of want to avoid. Though it is very easy to find people who want to sell their buildings because it is a very high distress asset class right now, just given the current environment. The challenge is getting these deals to pencil. It is really, really hard to get them to pencil, but also even get funding and actually being able to make money on these deals. I believe in the near future, office is going to continue doing better, but the challenge is right now, the only office asset that is working is these Class A newer offices. And that is where it's more institutional capital that you're competing against. And when we're going off-market direct-to-seller, usually we don't want to be competing with institutional capital, with massive private equity shops. Right now, the main asset class within office that is just crushing is in these super hot, sexy markets, which for our sake, when we're doing off-market prospecting, not really the best. Now, coming in at number 3, I've got very mixed feelings about multifamily. I love multifamily as just an asset in general, but it's very challenging. I believe that when people think of real estate, the first thing they're thinking of is multifamily. I would say that is the most common asset class that people even outside of real estate who want to bring capital in buying assets, this is the first one they think of. It is very competitive. It is very challenging. I would say the only time when you want to be doing off-market and multifamily is in Class B to C markets. I believe we will find good success there, but we have to put a cap on the amount of units. Because again, it's a similar story to office. When you start competing against institutional capital, you are not going to succeed. Especially when you're doing off-market prospecting, usually they're trading with brokers or maybe more connection-based. But with those bigger assets, it is always inherently challenging. So that's why when we are doing the multifamily side of things, we want to be in probably sub 50 units and then in these more Class B, Class C, tertiary type markets. I love this asset in general, don't get me wrong, but it is just very challenging and ultimately very competitive. And that's sort of the reason why at number 1 and number 2 I've got industrial than retail, is because there's no competition. The beauty is there are not that many brokers who are just specialized in like the retail asset class. It is an asset that has not much competition when you are doing outbound prospecting. I wouldn't say it's because it's not as desirable of an asset, but because there's just less professionals in that space, in my opinion. In the retail and both industrial, I'll just kind of group them together. It's a lot of owner-operators. When you're calling an office or multifamily, usually it's somewhat more sophisticated of owners, but the beauty of industrial and retail is that usually it's actually people who are owning the asset and then run their business out of it. So with these kind of campaigns, we're performing very well because it's similar to that relation to the resi side of things. The beauty of resi is we are not working with sophisticated homeowners, right? So we can go and get these deals for 30, 40, 50 cents on the dollar. And that's the beauty of industrial and retail. It's a lot of owner operators. But in my opinion too, it's also easier to make these deals pencil. It's easier to make these deals work. and there's just not much competition. When people are thinking of commercial real estate, people usually flock to multifamily or they flock to self-storage. And because of that, that's why those assets are so competitive. But the beauty with industrial and retail is, number one, you are not really competing against people. There are not that many people who are doing outreach. We were running a campaign, and this was over in California, and we ended up calling a list that we already called 3 months earlier, and we called them back, first time reaching out to them in 90 days. And the owners remembered our caller's name. They were like, oh, John, we talked like 3 months ago. I never heard from XYZ company. What ended up happening? And I believe that it is a blue ocean with these two assets. There is pretty much nobody who is doing outbound marketing to them. And the ones that are doing outbound marketing are probably not doing it effectively. And consequently, we are able to get really, really good deals. And speaking of the really good deal part, usually with these retail industrial deals, we're able to get them at a way better basis. That's where we're able to buy deals at 8, 9, 10, 11 caps. Compared to multifamily, every single owner wants to go and sell at a 5 cap and a 7 cap market, versus with industrial and retail, we're able to get way better results. And the reason I have this ranking is not assets that I'd like in general from like an investment thesis. This is more so, how can we get off-market deals at a better basis than what it should trade on the market? And that is the goal, that is the thesis of what we are doing here. And for context, like I said, we've launched hundreds of campaigns, I would say in the CRE side, maybe closer to 20. And when someone comes to me and they say, hey, Daniel, I'm in like a secondary market or a Class B market and I want industrial retail, right away with 100% conviction, I say we are going to crush it. Versus if you told me multifamily, office, or self-storage, I would say maybe not as much as the case. And again, I know I don't have too many numbers up on here. I wanted to keep it simple, but the reason I chose this list, again, is backed by data. It's backed by the experiments that we have done within these markets, within these assets, and that we have found the most success with. So hope this is helpful. If you have any questions or want me to dive deeper into any more specific use cases of these campaigns, I can make another video on it.